There's been an outcry in the United States after it emerged a Saudi national with suspected links to Al-Qaeda was able to live freely in the country for 7 years. Lawmakers are now demanding answers as to why the State Department granted the man a visa. Khaled Mopin's got the story.
It may be hard to believe, but an alleged Al-Qaeda terrorist has been living in the United States for 7 years unnoticed. Saudi national Naif Al-Falaj has now been arrested, and at this point, members of Congress want answers about how this was allowed to happen. In 2000, he attended an Al-Qaeda training camp. In 2011, he moved to Oklahoma on a non-immigrant visa, joining his wife. In 2016, he was even able to get a pilot's license. However, that was revoked when the FBI finally started an investigation. Now he is in custody, awaiting trial on a number of charges.
The indictment charges 2 counts of visa fraud. The third count charges Al-Falaj with making a false statement to the FBI when he denied ever having associated with anyone from a foreign terrorist group.
He may not have been able to enter the United States if authorities had actually been able to pay more attention. It turns out that back in 2001, his fingerprints were actually found on an application to a terrorist training camp. Furthermore, his father was named as a person of trust in an Al-Qaeda document. Now, at this point, that data was not able to be analyzed until 2017.
I'd say there was a number of breakdowns going back to where the original intelligence was maintained and stored. He should have been on a watch list.
You know who was on the list? Omar Mateen, the Pulse nightclub shooter. Recently released cell phone records indicate that just days before the attack, he was considering whether or not to attack Disneyland. He was on the FBI's radar screen after making threats against his coworkers and claiming to have ties to jihadists. However, after 10 months of monitoring and 3 FBI interviews, they determined that he was, quote, not violent or dangerous. After he did carry out his attack, the FBI said he had self-radicalized on the internet.
We're working hard to understand the killer and his motives and his sources of inspiration. But we are highly confident that this killer was radicalized, and at least in some part through the internet.
So the internet did it, huh? Well, remember that Florida school shooter? Apparently, he left tips on the internet that he was planning to shoot up the school. People called the FBI about it, but they never bothered to look into the matter.
The FBI has determined that protocol was not followed. The information was not provided to the Miami field office, and no further investigation was conducted at that time.
This is an ongoing failure of the United States, and it's not just the U.S., it's also in Europe, to properly vet these people. And the FBI had ample warning that the Orlando attacker was a threat, but because he was Muslim, they did not want to look into it. They did not want to seem that they were targeting a certain religious group. Even reports have come out with school shootings in the United States where the FBI many times received a phone call warning them about these shooters, and nothing happened. Because of that, the FBI did not follow up. So I think it's not so much a lack of resources as it is a lack of knowledge or understanding about threats that matter the most.